that Prince Harry's very vocal in his, well, shall we say, outspokenness about how he feels he's been treated by the British monarchy, his one-time family. If you recall earlier this year when he was questioned over here in a UK TV interview about the removal of his titles, he very quickly got very snappy and said, well, what difference would that make? As we've said to you many times here on the show, a lot of difference, a lot of people are absolutely fed up and sick to the back teeth of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle basically riding on their titles, as we saw in that First Responders recent event. They like to be introduced as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They have no chance of ever coming to visit Sussex. They're not interested. Meghan can't stand the United Kingdom. What's the point of it, apart from monetization? But what's interesting is really just how, well, according to a very well-placed source, Prince Harry feels about the very public knowledge regarding this recent royal reveal. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. Neil Sean here. Nice to have your company. By the way, can we just look back into this particular date? Because, you know, we all put records. Well, we don't now, do we? But do you remember years ago you put records on, didn't you? And for those old enough to remember, of course, there were the gramophone. I was always fascinated by the gramophone because you wound it up, didn't you? And then you put the record on. But for those who remember the early days of rock and roll, if you bought your 78 and somebody crushed you on the bus, then that was the end of your record, wasn't it? Weren't plastic 45s a lot better? Yes, yes. Well, on this day, you see, this happened. In 1887, the first gramophone was invented by Emil Berliner, a German immigrant living in Washington, D.C., and was patented. We all know how well that went, and then that became incredibly successful. There's always somebody starting out and somebody making that break. Am I right? As ever, back to your breaking roll story of the day. We'll have a quick wave. How are you? Yes. Now, this is really turning quite nasty, in fact, because as we now know, the ex-duke, the ex-royal, whatever you want to call him, Prince Harry, has to inform the royal household should and when and if and how he wants to return back here to the United Kingdom, if he wishes to stay in royal palaces. Now, I don't think this is a particularly cruel thing, in fact, that His Majesty the King has done. After all, why should he be allowed to just turn up en masse as and when he wants? Now, it's interesting to note, isn't it, that that particular wording from royal palaces, that Prince Harry will have to let, royal palaces know. It doesn't say the Duke of Sussex, and it certainly does not reference his wife, Meghan Markle. Well, according to very close insiders alongside Meghan and Harry, it's simply all about this. They feel that this is very much a very public slap down to them, basically saying, you see, this is how little we care about you. You often find, though, with these two sides of stories, they're forgetting, of course, that they threw down the gauntlet way back with the Oprah Winfrey interview, the spare book, the Netflix stuff, the Spotify stuff. You know, it's all about what they require. And Prince Harry desperately still wants to retain some kind of association back here, somewhere to live for, of course, the obvious reasons of why he would need a permanent place here in the United Kingdom. You know, it's an interesting thing as a Councillor of State. Meghan, as I said, couldn't care less, but according to that very well-placed source, she just feels that this is another, shall we say, snatch back at them as to how little they truly thought of both her and Prince Harry. Omitted, of course, that they were the ones, if you want to play tic-for-tac, that started it. Well, a lot of people actually feel that King Charles, for once, has done the right thing. I'd love to know what you think to this particular story in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.